Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of the What the Nell podcast with yours truly, your host, Nell Tice. I know I always say I'm so super excited, but I am yet again so super excited for my guest today. My guest is Tassos Kotzias, and I hope I said that correctly.
Perfect.
I met Tassos about a week ago and we instantly connected. We're going to be talking all about work life holistic balance. But I want to tell you a little bit about Tassos before we get started. He has, for over 25 years, been working in senior corporate positions as well as entrepreneurial environments, very demanding ones, with high levels of stress and challenging personal relations. So he gets all of this. I deal with this. I know so many of you, my listeners, do as well. So Tassos is going to be an amazing guest for you to listen to. Female colleagues were tending to come to him and discussing their challenging feelings and emotions of lack of self confidence, low self esteem, and fear of being judged all of the time by their male bosses or colleagues. Get that? So, Tassos would constantly hear about these struggles and these challenges. So, he developed his unique heart coaching methodology to help to make you feel holistic, empowered, accepted, resilient, and transformed so that you can appreciate and integrate this holistic transformation, balance, and harmony into your life once and for all. Tassos, welcome to the What the Nell podcast.
Thank you, Nell. It's a pleasure being here, and thank you for hosting me. And I'm excited, same way you're excited, right, to have this conversation, this beautiful conversation with together tonight.
Yes, I completely agree. I think that when we first chatted, we connected because I mean, first of all, I told you that I could listen to your voice all day long and listen to you speak. I mean, that was number one. But number two, we resonated so much because I mean, I am your ideal client. I was a woman in business where I was struggling with male counterparts and things like that. And what you're doing really speaks to me. So I know it speaks to our listeners. Tell us how you really developed this and your journey to getting to where you are today.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Yes, you're right. My ideal client is exactly, women executives that they are struggling and facing challenges every day, to be able to make their career through a difficult environment, and especially a male-dominated environment, right? So,
Mhm.
and then at the same time, keep the balance they need with the family, at home, with the kids, with all the social obligations, let's say, around the clock, really around the clock, 24
True.
hours non-stop, right? So yeah. So what got me into that holistically, let's say, holistic coaching journey, and especially, trying to assist and support women that they go through these challenges, through this phase, is that I was there. I was one of the corporate executives, going through these, as you said also in my bio, for many years going through these situations. And I didn't know back then. I didn't have any notion of coaching back then. But I
Mm.
felt that really colleagues, female colleagues, women coming to me, women peers, coming to me and saying, "Oh, Tassos, you know what, I have this issue. I don't know how to manage this. I don't know how to react to this. I have this feeling about this guy or this peer or this colleague, and I don't know how to manage it. What do you advise me? What do you think I should do? You as a man, how you can support me." So it
Mm.
was, for me, it was a bit natural. I didn't feel back then strange at all. So it was coming from my heart and saying, okay, yeah, let's sit down and discuss.
Right.
Why do you think you feel that? What do you think is the issue? What's the challenge here? What's the learning here? How can you cope with that? How can you do different? What kind of options you have? So I was kind of coaching them,
Mhm.
right? Without
Right.
me knowing them, that know that I'm coaching them. And then slowly, the last years being here in Qatar, etc., which is, as you understand, in much more conservative, I would say, environment.
Sure. Right.
And this phenomenon is even a little bit stronger, I could say.
Right.
Because of the religion, because of the culture, because of the education, also because of the blend of many cultures in this city and in this country. I started getting disconnected with this
Mm.
corporate executive profile, that I always need to wear a tie and suit and and be all the time, this
The
kind of corporate
stuffiness.
executive profile. Yes, exactly.
Mm.
So slowly, I start taking care more of myself, practicing kung fu, going to qigong, practicing qigong, starting getting opening up to alternative, let's say, energies and meditation and visualizations and all this spiritual, let's say,
Mm.
a little bit kind of internal search, you
Right.
know. So then I, in one by one, one I brought the other, and then I said, okay, during the years of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
I said, I have time. What
Mm.
can I learn? What can I evolve? How can I evolve myself? How can I evolve?
Mm-hmm.
What would be my next step in terms of career, in terms of my life, in terms of my journey here?
Mm-hmm.
So this slowly brought me to holistic coaching, because I realized that holistic coaching was really the it did not exist before, and
Right.
it was the first time in 2021 that the International Coaching Federation, which is the golden standard globally,
Mm-hmm.
right, and it's based in the US, of course, they recognized and they certified and accredited schools in the US offering holistic coaching.
Oh, okay.
So I said, this is my chance. Now I have to do that, right? So I have time. I have time. I said, okay, I have to invest a little bit, but that's fine. I have to do it for my own personal growth and my
Mm.
next journey in life. And this is how I took the train. I stepped
Yes.
on the train, right? And and so far now I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful. Really, I get to meet amazing people. I get to really be able to support
Mm.
people, and because I never say clients, I don't like the word clients.
Mm.
So I always get to support people, partners that they require this kind of support and this kind of, let's say, insights and awareness
Mm-hmm.
to understand a little bit their subconscious needs,
Mm-hmm.
what
Yeah.
they really want to do, who they really are, very important,
Right. Right.
what they need to do, how they can reach there,
Yeah.
on a step-by-step process.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, please.
No, I have so many questions running through my head.
Please.
My first question is, why do you think that it was most that women tend to gravitate towards you? I understand. I think that your energy is infectious. And
Thank you.
why
Appreciate that.
so I guess I just answered my own question, but what so working with women, I'm sure sometimes,
Mm.
maybe doesn't present challenges, but how do you work with women and work around the stigma? Because let's be honest, there is a little bit of a stigma, women working with men and vice versa, and why all of that happens, everybody can come to their own conclusions for. But what do you experience as far as any challenges working with women? Are there any self doubts or anything that you experience going into working with mostly women?
Oh, yes, yes, a great question. If I would coach you now, I would ask you this question, and you have to find your own, let's say, insights and your own solution and your own truth, right? But I would tell you from my experience. I would tell you from my experience working with women, right? Yeah.
Mhm,
So yeah, you captured already some of them,
mhm,
and there is a lot. There is a lot more. So, for example, when we start a partnership, a coaching partnership,
mhm,
maybe the, let's say, the overarching agreement, as we say, maybe it's like, yes, Tassos, I'm feeling I have a little bit of a low self-esteem or
mhm.
low self-confidence. How can you help me? How can support me? What can I do,
Right.
etc. And then we start slowly during the sessions and during the conversations, we're starting really exploring a lot of many other things,
Okay.
because maybe you have fears.
Mhm,
Yes, self-doubt, negative thoughts, negative thinking is big, is very big,
mhm.
right? In the society, for all of us, it's very
Right.
big,
Mhm.
right? I guess. And this is, what the Chinese are saying, the monkey mind. where you have the little monkey, over your head, jumping, jumping,
Yes.
jumping. Here you see my
Yes.
background, the garden. So it's like having a monkey over my head in the garden, jumping from one branch to the other branch to the other tree to the other tree to grab this banana, now this banana, now this apple, this fruit. So this is the monkey mind that creates a lot of thoughts continuously. Then doesn't let us let go, does not let us relax.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, 90% maybe of these thoughts are negative. So
Mm-hmm.
these negative thoughts, yes, self-doubt is very strong negative thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Negative thoughts like, for example, and then you let me know if it resonates to you, for example, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, for example, why this happened to me?
Mm-hmm.
Why everyone is building is throwing me responsibility for
Mm-hmm.
what's done,
Mm-hmm.
right? Why am I enough or not? Maybe I'm not sufficient. Maybe I'm not enough.
Mm.
How can I cope with my family? How can I cope with my husband? How
Right.
can I cope with my work? How can I get this career? Why didn't I get this promotion? Why didn't I get this salary increase or whatever? So
Right.
a lot of whys around, which is unfortunately very negative,
Yes.
and a lot connected and related to the past as well. Also, this is a big thing.
Right.
Of
Right.
course, this can be worked out more with therapy, right?
Sure.
If someone is really, really, really having issues, or traumas or whatever, right? This is not
Mm-hmm.
about coaching; it's more for therapy.
Mm-hmm.
But in coaching, we can help, and I can help women to really understand their thoughts, really understand and capture their values,
Mm-hmm.
get a clear idea on their beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So once you know your values, once you know what you believe, what your beliefs are, how
Right.
you were grown up, what was your education, what was your family environment, and what are these influences, and how this impacted your life now,
Mm-hmm.
and your behavior now, and your character and emotions, and all these, and especially the emotions now, then you can design how to be in the future, and what you want to change, and what you want to be, and
Right.
how you really, really want to cope with this.
Right.
Some other examples, right? Healthy boundaries,
Oh, that's
very big
huge.
issue, because you asked me about challenges, right?
Mm-hmm.
Healthy boundaries, and how to manage healthy boundaries, and what is healthy boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine in a male dominated environment, as you said, stigma. I wouldn't call it stigma, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest, myself,
Okay.
but I would say that it's heavy. Yes, it's heavy.
Mm-hmm.
Dominance in that aspect is heavy in a working environment,
Sure.
and boundaries is a very, very important aspect for women, how to manage these kind of relationships,
Mm-hmm.
which can start from harassment,
Mm-hmm.
heavy harassment,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even sexual harassment,
Mm-hmm.
and going lighter to only some maybe romantic flares, or maybe some, humor, male humor, which is
Right.
between men, but there's nothing to do with women,
Right.
right?
Right.
And you know what I'm talking
The
about,
locker
right?
room talk.
Exactly, because unfortunately, we men with this kind of strong young energy that we have, we tend to do this kind of humor between us, which is
Mm-hmm.
very offensive, can be very, very offensive
Mm-hmm.
to women, to ladies working with us, to peers and colleagues. And unfortunately, this is something that's extremely hard to change. I can tell
Yeah.
you,
Yeah.
from the male instinct point of view.
Sure. Sure. Absolutely. Where do you think that the constant self-doubt and the feelings of not being enough really stem from in women?
Oh, that depends. That depends, of course, on a lot of factors. First of all, it depends on their childhood,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
I mean, spiritually talking, it may start even earlier, right? But let's not touch this
Yeah.
subject, because this is a sensitive subject, right? For
Yeah.
this kind of conversation, we can have this conversation, the two of us, in a more relaxed
Not
setup,
recording on a
not
podcast.
recording a podcast, exactly, exactly. But but childhood for sure, yes. Traumas for sure. Relationship with father, relationship with mother,
Mhm.
right? Relationship with brothers, and then the rest of the family environment.
Sure.
Then school, of course, university, teenage being teenager and what are the experience for a teenager during these challenging years. And then the real experience is the real experience when you go out to the real world, let's say, as we say, when you have to prove to someone else, whoever that guy or lady is, you have to prove who you are, what you can do, what you can achieve, what kind of results, because there's so much competition out there, unfortunately, that we go to autopilot and we don't think. And we just think how I can achieve results, sales, money, and delivery all the time. And that's really, really challenging for the self-doubt aspect. Because if you don't manage one time, immediately you start, oh, again, why me? Why the other guy managed, why the other lady managed to do that?
Right.
And why I did not manage?
Right.
Is it my education? Is it my character? Is it my personality? Is it my emotions? Is it am I smart enough? Maybe I'm not smart enough. Is it my education? Is it my degree?
Yeah, or lack thereof.
Or what? Anything, any lack of this. I have if you allow me, I had a small case study like this with a coachee of mine. So she was going to interviews, right? Because she wanted to change her status at work, and she was exploring options,
Sure.
So she was going to interviews, and I was supporting them. I supported her in that process, and she was coming back to say, "Look, Tassos, I have an issue." I said, "What issue? What is the issue?" She says, "I don't have a university degree." I said, "Okay, you don't have a university degree. May I ask you a question? During throughout your years so far," she is about 40 something. "How many job interviews do you have?" She told me I had 6 or 7. I said, "Did you ever fail an interview?" She said, "No." "Ah, okay." I said, "So you don't have a degree, you had 6 or 7 interviews, you never failed the interview, and you had a job offer. So how is it related to a university degree?"
I mean, that's a really good question.
You see? And then she was like, woke up and she was like, "Oh, you're right. I don't really need the university degree." And then I said another thing. I said, "Do you think that during this interview process, you were the only candidate for the position, or maybe another 50, 100, 200, 300, 500 candidates with university degrees were there? Because if I was the employer, right, I would need to have the best of talents, the best university degrees, the highest certification and all that. But still, they got you. So why do you think they got you?" Yeah.
That's
So you see a pattern of a self-doubt that I don't have a university degree since 20 years old, 22, until her 40s. I don't have a university degree, and it's an issue for me. But when you break it down and you analyze it and you see the reality, university degree is just a piece of paper in the end for this lady. Because soft skills matter. Soft skills matter. Being kind, being grateful, being positive energy, smiling, being there to offer, to give, to help, to assist, to support anything, but also putting your boundaries, because you need to put your boundaries, because if you overgive, then they will step on you.
Yes.
Right. So this is where healthy boundaries go, so these I can tell you from my experience so far, 80 to 90% of all the cases that I'm discussing and I'm supporting ladies with is, yes, negative thinking, negative thoughts, self-doubt. Second, healthy boundaries, very big. And third is general phobias. Fears, phobias, anxiety, depending on the level, depending on the let's say the intense, the level, or the of these, you can call it anxiety, or you can call it a fear or a phobia, or depending on what it is. This is also very big. This is very big.
Yes,
it's very big, and it's in the border. Sometimes in the border with therapy, but my let's say experience here says that if you have this kind of concerns or anxiety or fears or phobias, go first to a coach. Explore this option first. because you may get real good insights and real awarenesses that can help you overcome these fears and phobias, and don't go to a therapist directly. If the coach cannot help you, or if after a specific period of time you don't see improvement, then yeah,
right.
maybe try another coach as well, and then go to a therapy. Yeah, because it's you need to
Sure.
you need to try that. It's not that, okay, I have a phobia, I have to go to a therapist, and then I have to the therapist, I have to work
Right.
with the therapist for 1 or 2 years, and then maybe the therapist will start giving me some medications, light medications or medium or heavier medications.
Right.
If you go
Right.
into medications, forget it. There is no return.
Oh,
Very tough.
yeah. I personally, I've had experience, not myself, but with a friend who,
Mm.
and this was back when coaching wasn't really, I'll call it a thing, because it was really very unheard of. And this is just, it was when you thought something was wrong, you went to a therapist. And when a therapist couldn't get you on that medicinal regimen that you really truly needed, you'd go somewhere else. And then all of a sudden you're on a different regimen. And then that wasn't working. And it's this constant cycle of trial and error with
Hmm.
medication that could be really dangerous,
Of course.
which kind of leads me into my next question.
Uh-huh.
I appreciate the holistic nature in which you are approaching your coaching style and services. Why do you believe that holistic is most beneficial for a lot of the partners that you work with?
Holistic, yeah, very nice question. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. So holistic would be very beneficial because you are exploring 4 different levels of awareness, four
Mm.
different levels of well-being. Let's call it like this to be a little bit more practical.
Mhm.
So 4 levels of well-being, starting with the physical one.
Mm.
So when we first begin a conversation, we have to explore about your physical
Mhm.
presence, your physical environment, your physical well-being. For
Mhm.
example, how's your diet?
Mm.
Do you drink a lot of water? Simple things to
Mhm.
start with. Do you drink a lot of water? Do you sleep well?
Yeah.
Do you live in an area with greenery, for example? Right?
Oh,
Are
good
you
one.
close? Are you close to water or not? It's
Mm.
also very important. Water energy, very
Yeah.
important to be around water.
Yes.
Because it's flow and we resonate as human beings with water anyway, right?
Mhm.
So do you, when you're working in an office environment, for example, are you close to natural sunlight,
Mhm.
or you're just in a closed environment with artificial light only?
Right.
Imagine the differences now, small differences during the
Absolutely.
day that can do tremendous impact, can have tremendous impact in your well-being during your day.
Yeah.
So we are exploring all this physical level of well-being. Then we go to the mental.
Mhm.
What's happening with our thoughts, as we were discussing before, the monkey
Right.
mind,
Yeah.
right? What's happening with the thoughts? Can we control them?
Right.
We cannot control them, Nick. How can we control them? How do we decide? How do we take decisions? Are we procrastinating all the time? Or we are deciding immediately without thinking twice?
Oh.
Do we have any balance there or not?
Mhm.
Then on the mental level, other in the mental level, what are our beliefs that who we are? Because these are thoughts again, right?
Mhm.
Who we are, what we want to achieve. How do we communicate with other people? Very important mentally. How do
Mhm.
we communicate?
Right.
Can we communicate? We cannot communicate. Do we overanalyze or we don't analyze? So a lot of different aspects of mental well-being there.
Mhm. Mhm.
And then we go to the emotional level. We go
Mhm.
to more challenging, from one to the other, go to more challenging levels, right? So emotional level. How do we understand our feelings? In what organ, part of our body, do we feel our feelings? Do we feel our emotions?
Ooh.
For example, this is coming more from the Eastern philosophy, because in the
Sure.
Western philosophy it doesn't exist almost at all. Maybe slowly, it's starting, right? Yes. And then if we understand these feelings or these emotions, how do we express them?
Mhm.
How do we express them? Do we communicate them, or we put them under the carpet, or we hide them,
Mhm.
or we express them and we get relieved? And when we're talking emotions and feelings, we're talking about everything, really, literally. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm saying negative and positive.
Right.
So it can be, and even not even positive, negative, because they're all feelings are useful. It
Right.
depends on the balance you have. For example, grief, maybe love, passion, maybe jealousy, for
Right.
example, all
Mm-hmm.
right, or gratefulness,
Mm-hmm.
acceptance,
Yeah.
resilience. A big area of emotion, of different kind of emotions. So how do we cope with this? How do we manage these
Right.
emotions?
Right.
And then the fourth level, the more challenging one, part of the holistic, let's say, coaching and part of the holistic approach is the spiritual one. And
Ah.
I'm not talking about religion here, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because as you know, here in Qatar, I'm in Qatar. I'm a Greek Orthodox. Here in Qatar, there are Muslims. But at the same time, our kids go to a school with 70 different nationalities.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 70 nationalities, 70 nationalities. Can you imagine that? So how many religions we're talking? We're talking about Hinduism. We're talking about Catholics. We're talking about
Gosh.
Protestants. We're talking about all kind of different nationalities. So we're not talking about religion when we say spiritual.
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual, we mean what is our connection with nature? What is their connection with the human as a human being to another human being?
Mm.
What about compassion to other human beings? It's part of the emotional, but it's part of the spiritual as well, right? What is the legacy
Mm-hmm.
that we want to leave
Mm-hmm.
behind us when we depart? So there is a big aspect also of the spiritual and the spiritual awareness, and these kind of difficult, challenging questions that sometimes, unfortunately, we do not want to answer. This is what I face with my coaches. Sometimes we don't even go into exploring this space at all out of fear, out of
Right.
fear,
Right.
because it brings us closer to our death.
Oh my gosh. You
I
gave
don't want
me
I don't want to I
chills.
don't want to make the conversation heavy, right?
No.
But only if you start realizing all these different levels of
Mm-hmm.
of thinking and consciousness
Mm-hmm.
and awareness, then you start in realizing holistically who you are, what you want to achieve, why you want to achieve this, what is the most important thing for you that you want to achieve in this life.
Right.
You start doing your priorities, mental level priorities, right?
Yes.
Time management priorities.
Yes. I mean, there are so many things that you mentioned. I mean, just right from, are you getting enough sunlight at your desk during the day, or are you under
Yes,
artificial light all day? No one thinks about that. No one thinks
correct.
about the toll that it takes on your mental health. No one talks about spirituality without thinking at least about religion first.
Correct.
And the fact that there are so many of these things needing that we need to work through holistically, it really even sends me more, and this can also be another conversation for another day. It sends me more down
Sure,
down the spiral of
we'd be more than happy.
takes me further down the spiral of why would we resort to any other method than a holistic method at first? Because we're truly looking inward with what we have. Something about diet. Why would we not look at diet and sleep habits and things like that?
Yes,
So I applaud you for taking this approach. And maybe it's just a Western medicine thing, that we do here, but I can't thank you enough for taking that approach. So yeah, holistic, look inward, look at these things, and someone like you can help support doing that, which is amazing. So thank you for doing
thank
that.
you, Nell. Thank you, Nell. I really appreciate that, and it's my passion. It's my mission. For me now, it's my mission. It's
Yeah.
really a mission. It's really a mission, because
Yeah.
it's so rewarding, so challenging, but at the same time so rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Because only what it challenges you
Mm-hmm.
gives you the pleasure in the end.
It's so true. And for
Hmm?
so many people, we avoid what
Exactly,
challenges us.
exactly. So we never get the reward.
No.
or
I
we
feel
think
like yes.
or we think we get the reward by
Right.
shopping or by going to movies or by eating some junk food or something. Yes, of course you get some reward, you get some
Sure.
pleasure, but this is very instant.
Yes.
Whatever you're challenged with, this is the thing that will give you real reward emotionally, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Right.
Yes.
So in that aspect, yes, I like the challenge, the challenge with my coaches, with my this kind of conversations. But the reward is so big, it's
Hmm.
much bigger than anything else. So it's really a mission there.
Yes. Yes. And a wonderful mission it is.
Thank you, appreciate. Even the aspect that now that you mentioned before, you mentioned about diet, for example, right?
Yes.
I'll give you a very big example in
Yeah.
diet. So diet is a huge thing, as you know, all of us. It
Yes.
doesn't matter if we have the perfect body, the
Hmm.
perfect routine, the perfect habits. We still look at ourselves in the mirror and
Hmm.
we go, oh yeah, but it's okay. Maybe I have here a little bit of extra fat.
We
you
like to
know,
call that a little extra love.
yes, a little extra love. Exactly. Have this. How can I do? What can I do about that? Right. So what is diet in the end, holistically speaking? Is it
Mm,
just nutrition? Is it just exercise? Is it just the physical aspect that we're discussing before?
mm,
Or it's mental and emotional and spiritual? Because you're looking at yourself at the mirror and
mhm.
you're saying this self-doubt or this wish list that you have for yourself in order to get leaner or thinner or whatever.
Right.
Right? So this is mental and emotional,
Sure.
clearly. Right? And
Sure.
this is mental. The emotional part is that you challenge yourself and you compare yourself with other people,
Right.
or you're
Right.
worried about your self-image,
Hmm.
and that's why you're doubting. So
Hmm.
emotional level here,
Hmm.
you're doubting yourself, you're doubting your practice, you're doubting your body, you're doubting your self-love,
Hmm.
mm? All this.
Right.
So this is purely emotional. And
Yeah.
then spiritual is because in the end, what does has to do if I'm thin or if I'm fat, if I have extra kilos and extra weight?
Right.
What does this has to do? What kind of with what I can offer to the society, with what I can offer to the community,
It's
with
true.
why I'm here in this planet?
Hmm.
You see what I mean?
Right.
With what kind of offer I can offer to my loved ones? What
Right.
has this anything to do with that? Nothing at all.
Does right. Your diet has nothing to do with the purpose that you serve on this earth.
Exactly. Well said. Well
Wow.
said. So this
Thank
is the
you.
spiritual aspect. So you see, starting with the diet, that everyone we believe, yeah, okay, it's about junk food or it's about this and that behavior or habits or our daily habits or about the alcohol or about whatever.
Mhm.
We don't realize the chain of all this and the connection of this the
Mhm.
holistic connection that we need to have in order to feel more confident, to feel more secure, to feel more self-loved.
Mhm.
And then once this come, this will help us also on the diet, because then
Mm,
diet will become very easy. Diet will
true.
become very easy. It will not be a problem anymore or a challenge anymore.
It'll be something you actually look forward to.
Exactly.
Oh, this is I love it. I love all of it. And I hate to say that we're getting towards the end of the episode, but so I want to shift gears to the what the Nell moment because I feel like you're going to have a really great what the Nell moment.
Other, let's yes,
But
yeah. I don't know if it's great or not. I will share. I will share. I will share something because you just remind me now of this setup here,
oh,
of my setup here, right? So you remind me of my setup here. So I had right now, as I told you, I'm outside in a garden, right?
yeah.
So the garden is, I have my laptop on a table, so you can imagine.
Mhm.
So, and then I had a live webinar with
Oh.
150 guests
Oh my
attendees,
gosh.
right, on my screen, right? So, and it was, and the webinar, it was about healthy boundaries.
Uh-huh.
So I had to be very strict,
Yes.
very, very well
Yes.
organized to manage the conversations, because I want to
Sure.
do the webinar not like a seminar where I just so present some slides and I go over the slides and
Mhm.
this boring thing. I want to do interact, very interactive.
Right.
I want to execute the webinar very interactive. So I was challenging the attendees, 150 people. I was challenging them with
Oh my gosh.
questions live on the camera, on camera. So whenever someone, you know how it is, someone goes on camera and
Mhm.
starts talking, some people don't want to stop
Right.
because they
Oh,
want to
true.
show, they want to share, they want to be the to have to be the famous guy on camera, and all that. So I had to be very, very strict on all my boundaries during
Sure.
this webinar, right, for all these
Mhm.
people. So I was so concentrated and this and that to be able to manage it for 2 hours, very, very concentrated, very high level of focus. And all of a sudden, as I'm sitting here on my camera, a cat jumps on the table behind my laptop,
Oh
and I'm like,
no.
what the hell is
Ah,
that?
what the now?
I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? What the hell is
Oh
happening?
my
And all these
gosh.
people, I could see some people in the cameras. They're going, what's happened? Are you okay?
Oh my gosh.
So
That's the
it
moment
was,
that you wish you're recording. I hope you did record that.
yes, yeah, it was, I recorded, but I don't sure I have to cut it.
Oh, yes, you have
So
to save that for the blooper
it
reel.
was it was funny, yes, because you can imagine this kind of focus, intention, very, very
Yes,
concentrated to try
yes.
to manage the whole thing, and all of a sudden, wow,
That is so
what is
that's
this?
too funny. That is
Yes,
great. And I mean, but that's and you know what? It shows the reality of life and how maybe
yes,
sometimes we take ourselves too seriously.
yeah. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And yes, we have to be one very, very important aspect, of the holistic coaching is smiling and laughter,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Laughter is the
Smile,
best medicine,
laugh.
right?
We need to laugh. We need to be positive. We need to, you have a
Mhm.
beautiful smile, use it. We all have to use it.
That's
This one,
right.
it's contagious, as we say.
Oh, I love that. I love it. I never, ever, ever want this conversation to end. I love it. Well, tell us how people can find you and connect with you. Yeah, just give us all the
Yeah,
info.
yes, I guess you will have some links anyway in your
Mhm.
podcast, right? But they
Yes,
can
they will
find me
be
in
in the
my,
description.
yeah, thank you, appreciate that. They can find me in my website, which is my name, tassoskotzias.com. This is TASSOSKOTZIAS.com, right? There's a nice video there. There's a lot of content there, and I'll be happy to be able to support any of your listeners, and in any way possible. So
Yes.
I'm thrilled to have this chance, this opportunity, and yeah, I will be happy to have a second podcast sometime later on.
I do
Up to
feel
you.
like that is definitely on the table. So, oh gosh, this has been an amazing conversation, Tassos. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your stories and give us a little more insight into about what you do and how you can help people, women especially.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. I'm grateful. I'm grateful. Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you,
And
Mary.
thank you to all of you who are listening. And please go connect with Tassos. And as mentioned, all of the links to find him and connect with him will be in the description to this episode. So thanks for listening, and I will catch you on the next one.